Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome back to yet another episode of Perf Podcast, Athlete Things. This time, Open Worlds has just finished, so we'll be kickstarting off the new series, which is basically the Road to Worlds 2024 Malta. Today, joined with me, I have Sylvie, who is also coached by Tarrin from PerforMotion. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks for asking. So, Sylvie, just to introduce her, she is our sub-junior 52 British national champion. And you achieved that relatively easily, right?
Yeah, it wasn't too.
Don't worry about it. So how was the comp for you?
For me, it was actually a really fun experience. I was very nervous going into it, but I was just excited to be at my first national competition. I was quite confident going in that I should be able to come away with first place, which kind of took a little bit of pressure off the day. I just sort of had gone in with the goal for the British bench record, and that was sort of all I'd really wanted to do, and I got that, so I was really happy.
And it's now yours, right? At 67.5?
Yeah.
Yeah. So other than that, you also scored at 95 and you deadlifted 130 for a total of 292.
Yeah.
So that's really impressive for a sub-junior as well. Congratulations.
Thanks.
So before Nationals, Nationals was held in March, right?
Yeah.
And before that, you did another comp with Tarrin, right?
Yeah, in January.
How was that?
It was mixed. We'd had a really rocky prep. I had a lot of struggles with squats, and generally my mindset was not great. We'd had some issues with bench depth as well, so I was very sort of nervous that I wasn't really going to perform as well as I should have, and it went okay. Like, I missed my last squat and we took bench a little bit lighter than we would have liked just to hit depth, but I think it was a big turning point in my mindset for me and realizing that I need to sort of have a more positive outlook on my training.
And that reflected well into your performance at Nationals, right?
Yeah. The difference between my prep for January and Nationals was like night and day. It sort of just really made me aware that I need to change my attitude toward training if I'm going to be better. And I've really noticed that the more positive I am towards things, the better my outcome is as well.
Right. And apart from your intrinsic attributes like your mindset and your attitude, would you say like Tarrin has also made changes to your program which helped improve your performance?
Oh, definitely. After January, we decided to increase my squat days to 3 days a week, and add quite a bit of volume in, and it's made all the difference. Like, my confidence in squat has gone from 0 to 100. Like, I used to be terrified of putting 90 on the bar, and now I put it on for like back offs every week.
That's great. And you're squatting in the hundreds now?
Yeah, just about.
It's perfect. And since then, it's been about 4 months. And how have your numbers progressed?
They've gone really well. Deadlift, we've had a couple of issues when I'd hurt my back and we sort of went down a bit and I was really struggling, but having made the switch to sumo, numbers are heading straight back up. Squats have gone miles and miles above where we were even at Nationals.
Ever since the frequency change?
Definitely. And then bench has been progressing nicely as well.
And you said you had a little back pain issue, right? When you were deadlifting conventional.
Yeah.
When you did transition to sumo, how was the transition like?
Well, after we did the British trials for Worlds, we'd had like a 3-week block in place so that the timings of my blocks would align with Worlds, and we decided to run half conventional, half sumo and sort of be able to compare which two was better. And I was like kind of hesitant at first. I was like, I don't know how it's going to go because it is quite a big change to make, but it actually went really smoothly, and then within a week or two I was repping higher weight sumo than I was conventional, so we just decided to go.
Right. And previously, how long have you been lifting like conventional?
Well, since I started powerlifting, which was just over a year ago, I hadn't really done
Right.
all that, but I'd done conventional all the time I'd done it.
So it was only through trial and error that you found this sort of revelation in your training that sumo is
Yeah,
the way to go.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Do you think that down the line, you're gonna find a lot more of these experiments that would benefit your training greatly?
Definitely, yeah. We've already made quite a few technical changes throughout the last year, but I'm sure because I'm still very early on in like powerlifting, and I am
Yeah.
be a very long-term thing that I carry on, that there will be many more technical changes and things that we try out just to see how they work.
Yeah, and since the transition to sumo, your back pain, how has it been?
It's completely fine. I'm in a much better starting position, that it's not like aggravating anything, and I've not really got any pain afterwards anymore, which is perfect.
And you can sort of push hard without worrying about the pain getting to you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now you're about 2/3 of your way compared to like I guess according to the runway from your nationals to worlds, we're about 2/3 of
Yeah,
the way done already.
yeah.
How would you say your difference between your prep for nationals and your for worlds has been?
Um, I mean, I don't think they've been too different for me, because I've tried not to like put a lot of pressure on myself, knowing that it is an international. I think obviously knowing that I'm not in like any sort of position where I'm going to have to do any big pull for any podium position or anything is quite nice, because for me it's just like, for nationals I was quite nervous about like making sure I secured that first place spot. Whereas here I can just really go and enjoy the experience. So I'm just really focusing on making sure that I'm hitting as big numbers as possible so I can get PRs on the day.
And as an athlete, would you say you prefer that pressure, or would you prefer, I guess, your circumstance at Worlds right now, where like you don't have that much pressure?
I mean, obviously I would quite like the pressure to win if it means I'm up there.
Right.
But I do quite enjoy just being able to go and do it for fun. I think I had a lot of years in other sports where I was very stressed and in a high pressure environment, and for me powerlifting's been a really nice change of pace from that, to be able to just really focus on enjoying myself and seeing the improvement of my own lifting rather than focusing on what other people are doing.
Yeah, that's what the sport is pretty much about. Like you can't just
Yeah.
force a lift that you don't really have the capability to execute.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we did talk a lot about mindset, but how has your prep in terms of like training been? Like in terms of like your training blocks and your compounds, your accessories? How have they sort of, yeah, were there any differences?
We've really pushed accessories a lot recently, and I've definitely noticed the benefits of it. But other than that, my training's generally kept the same. We've added weighted dips in since nationals, which I've actually really enjoyed, and I think they've been really beneficial for my bench press. But in terms of like compounds and like squat, bench, and deadlift, they've kept relatively the same. Like I have my volume day, and then other days as well, like included, that have stayed pretty much the same since about February, March time.
Right. So I guess your training has been going well, so there isn't really a need to change. And
Yeah,
I guess for accessories, just to make yourself enjoy training even better.
yeah.
Great. So I think a lot of us want to know how you actually ventured your way into powerlifting. So were you doing any sports like beforehand, or
Um, I'd done gymnastics for a very long time, and I left around the end of 2022, like the summer of 2022. And I started going to the gym, and I moved to the gym I'm at now called Vision. And I was sort of there for a couple of months and was a bit lost in the way of it, really. I was just kind of figuring things out. And one of my friends started going to the powerlifting area here. at my gym, and I sort of decided to come in with her, and I was terrified at first, but then I saw there's so many like amazing lifters that are there. Like we've got so many people that are lift for universities, for GB, like we've got Kate Baxter, and like
Yeah.
I fell in love with it and was like, I really want to be like them and I really want to try something new and see how it goes. So I just sort of ran with it, and then here we are.
Right. And you also met your coach Tarrin, right? From
Yeah.
that gym.
Yeah.
How is working with him been?
Oh, it's been like the best thing that's happened to me. That sounds really cringy, I know, but like
No, it's not. It's a really sweet thing to say about your coach.
I really look up to him and like all the lifters there, but especially like sort of reflecting on the last year or so that I've been working with him now, like the change that I've seen in myself and my confidence in sport. I spent a lot of time with coaches in other sports that I'd done that were very much focusing on what you were doing wrong and that you were never good enough. But for Tarrin,
Right.
it's been a very positive approach, and like anytime I've had something negative to say, he's always able to counteract it with something positive, and that for me has been like one of the biggest things that I've seen more change about myself than as an athlete, which I think is more important than any lifting progress I've made.
Yeah. It's about like progress, like in terms of how you view yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad Taryn is such a great coach.
Yeah.
And I guess double backing into your history of sports, were you competitive in gymnastics as well?
Not at like a national level, but I did compete quite a lot throughout the season. But the pressure, regardless of the level of competition you're doing at the gymnastics club, was very high. So I probably did like 7 or 8 competitions a year.
Oh wow, that's a lot compared to powerlifting.
Yeah, they tend to be like a short space together. Like you have a competition season and then you have your off season to focus on your new skills and things like that.
Yeah. Would you say there are similarities and differences, I guess, in your time in gymnastics compared to powerlifting now?
Definitely. I think both of them take a lot of self-discipline, although like gymnastics is a lot more hands-on coaching and like you get told to go and do something and you do it rather than being like given your program and then your corrections as you do in powerlifting. I think there is a lot of like you have to want to do it yourself and you have to overcome those mental barriers. I think I've definitely found a lot of comparison in the feeling of trying a new skill to trying a new weight. Like they're very similar feelings. So I've been able to sort of transfer skills from there into trying new things in powerlifting.
And would you say you've gotten used to that sort of anxiety when you approach new weights or skills?
Yeah, that's definitely something I've worked on recently. I think since nationals that's changed a lot. I've just sort of I've learned to sort of like be more positive in my mindset and talk the way I talk to myself. And that's definitely had an impact on how confident I am going into new weights.
Yeah, and going on to the world stage as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of worlds, what are you looking forward to the most?
I'm just looking forward to get to experience it. Like competing for GB has been a dream of mine since I was really, really little. And so the fact that I've gotten the opportunity to do that, I'm so grateful. Like if you told me last year when I just started that I'd be going off to Worlds this year, I would not have believed you. So I'm just really excited to sort of see what an international competition's like and get to experience all of it.
Yeah, it's a surreal feeling to experience,
Yeah.
especially for a lifter as young as you.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I just can't wait.
Yeah. Have you gotten your SBD singlet and your kit, basically your team kit?
Not yet, but I'm really excited to.
Not yet. Yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
I traded one of mine with one of your teammates last year.
Oh, did you? That's awesome.
Yeah.
I really want to do
It was very nice.
Worlds. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you eyeing any kits that you want to exchange?
I really like the New Zealand kit.
Right.
I also really like
Yeah,
the
but are you gonna change your entire kit or like just like a singlet or like
Probably just the singlet.
Right.
And then, I don't know, I think it would be nice to have.
Yeah. So, all right, the I guess the logistics part of Worlds is like out of the way. What are your goals for Worlds? It's your first international, right?
Yeah, first international.
And do you feel like you get nervous training for it? Either that or just competing on the day itself?
To be honest, I still don't really kind of believe that I'm actually going, so I'm kind of just going through with my training, and the pressure of it hasn't really gotten to me yet. But I'm not actually very nervous for it at all, which is quite strange to me. Usually I'm quite stressed about things.
Right.
I'm just really looking forward to like hitting some big PRs and try my best to go 9 for 9. That's the biggest goal of the day.
Right. Yeah. I think getting past that 300 mark would be
Oh
on the
yeah,
world stage would be
definitely.
yeah.
That's the main, like, that would be really, really nice.
Yeah. And so you feel like you won't really get nervous over there.
I think I'll be nervous on the day or the days leading up to it, but I've had quite a lot of competition experience throughout my life, and so I generally tend to be able to pull it together quite well on the day and sort of get my way through.
That's great. And will you be flying with your family or like yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry?
I'm going out with my mum.
Oh, great. She's flying with you.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice. Is Tarrin coming along as well?
Tarrin will be there with Kate, so I think he's coming out the day after that I do, which is nice as well.
Yeah. It would be nice to like, have like familiar faces like on the day of your comp. Yeah. And speaking of going with your mom, have you settled the flights with the GB team?
I've booked all my flights, yeah.
Yeah. And the accommodations as well. Like
Yeah, I've booked all my accommodation. Everything's all sorted.
awesome. Sweet. So I think before we end this podcast, what are your plans after Worlds? Or do you have any?
Hopefully, obviously, to go to Euros, that would be really amazing as well. And then I think taking a nice big off season for my first year at junior nationals next year, because obviously going up to the juniors.
Oh yeah, it's a huge step.
It goes up quite a bit, and that is quite intimidating.
Yeah.
Also, the number of people you're competing against goes up massively. Like there was only 3 people in my weight category this year, but going up next year, there'll be much more, and I would like to hopefully aim for possibly a podium at nationals next year. I think that would be really, really nice, and just seeing how far I can push myself in an off season.
Yeah, it would really make a statement if you could come out of sub juniors and podium on your first year of juniors. Yeah. And we talked about Euros, right?
Yeah.
Where would it be held this year? Junior Euros.
Just outside of Prague in Czech Republic.
And the turnaround is really short, right? Last year it was about 6 weeks. Is it 6 weeks again this year?
5 weeks this year.
5 weeks this. Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah.
So would you be training the day after competing?
Pretty soon after, yeah. I usually run 6-week blocks as well, so it's going to be a shorter block as well, which will be interesting to see how it goes. But no, it's a quick old turnaround.
Yeah, it really is. I think if you can leverage on your adaptability, you're gonna do fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And before we end the podcast, do you have anything you'd like to say to our viewers?
I don't think so.
Okay. Then we'll end it here. It's fine.
All right.
So thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.